Hi, this is David with a somewhat dirty, meaning dusty, not obscene, Blue Freedom, and I'm going to, in this video, give Blue Freedom a bath. And I'm also, while I'm giving him a bath, I'm going to talk to you about some deficiencies I have found in the Tesla display and about the blind spot camera images that appear on this display. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is enter the car wash mode. We do this by going to the control button on the display, and then we click on the car wash icon, then we enter the car wash mode, and this will do such things as lock your charging port and turn off your wipers. Read the screen. Okay, here's what I've got to wash the car with. I've got this bucket that I bought in Walmart just a day or two ago, and I got it because you can see it's wider than it is long, or you could say longer than it is wide. I also have this cloth head mop that I have used for washing cars for a long time, but I got this bucket because this mop head fits in the bucket, and I'll be able to rinse it and not have it go in sideways like that. I've had a problem with buckets like that before. The only other things I have is I've got some wash and wax. This is, let's get it. This is some Blue Coral wash and wax. And I've got a nylon brush. Now, it's important to remember with your brushes, any kind of brush you're going to use on paint, the brush has to be softer than the paint. If the paint is harder than the brush, then the brush will not scratch the paint. So here we have Blue Freedom. I'm going to be doing my very first hand wash today. Let's put this down. And the other thing I've got here, and I think they still sell these absorbing, it's like a chamois except it's artificial, and this is the best thing I have found for getting water off of a car after you wash it. All right, now the important thing to know is you should always put the water into the bucket before you put the soap in. So I'm going to do that now, and the reason for that is that if you put the soap in first and then you put in the water, you're going to wind up with a big mountain of suds up on top. And I am going to fill up this bucket. I'm watching it now. I'll get it to about a third to a halfway full. That's good enough. Throw that off to the side. We'll use that later. And guess how much car wash liquid we pour into the water? Exactly some. That ought to do it. Put the lid on so if and when I kick over this bottle, it won't go spilling all over the place and leave soap down my driveway. Okay, let's get going to the washing. Here we go. This is our bucket full of car wash suds. Now, as I'm washing this car, I want to talk to you about a couple of things about Tesla. Number one is what I think is a safety issue. And while this mop head is soaking and getting itself wet, I'm going to wash down the Tesla, at least get it wet to begin with, and let all of the dirt that's kind of settled onto the car finish start getting softer. Yes, I know you should not wash a car in the direct sunlight, but I got to tell you right now, I need to wash the car, and this is the only time I've got, so it's going to have to be in the direct sunlight. And it's looking like we may have some some clouds covering up the sun right now, and that would be great if it would just hang on and cover up the sun while I finish washing Blue Freedom here. Okay, giving it basically a good old wet down all over. And I'll tell you this, I was a band director for a number of years, including in Gainesville, Florida, and in Boca Raton, Florida. And one of the things bands do is they have fundraisers. And one of the best fundraisers you can have with a group like a band or a church group or Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or any kind of scouts, any kind of group of kids, is to have a car wash. Number one, it's a very good way to raise money for that group. Number two, it's a great way to have fun with all the kids in there. Number three, kids love doing this sort of thing because, you know, kids will be kids and they will cut up and they will squirt each other with a hose, and they'll scream and laugh and just have a wonderful time. So now you can see why I like having this cloth mop head. It gives me the reach over the entire roof, side, back end, And you can see it's not a problem at all for me to, I've just finished washing the entire roof. Now I'm going over the windows on the far side of the car. I've already done the windshield, and now I'm going to see that sort of thing. Anyway, this may go a lot quicker than I thought, and I may not be able to talk about all the other things I wanted to. Let me talk first about the safety issue, but before I talk about that, let me go ahead and finish telling you about car wash with kids. Okay. And you teach them how to do it, and there's not that much to it, but there's definitely some to it. Number one, you wet it down first. Number two, don't let the soap dry on the car. Notice I'm rinsing what I have just washed. That's because I don't want the soap to dry on the car. And then number three, after you get it all rinsed, have somebody go around and inspect it, see if you missed any places. And if you did, go ahead and rewash those. And at that point, if you rewash those, did I already do the hood? I think I did. Oh well, it can't hurt to do it again. This is just fine. So anyway, Blue Freedom is going to be clean and sparkly when we're done. So anyway, I was going to tell you about a safety issue. Now the safety issue, and this is something that I really want to let the Tesla engineers know about, is that whenever there's an alert from Tesla to you, the driver, you know how they tell you that alert, right? Mostly, they will bring it up as a notice on the screen. And if you're on full self-driving, quite often that notice will be, keep your eyes on the road. Well, really? The thing is, when it brings up this notice, you know where it is, right? It's on the screen. And if you're going to read that notice, you know what you have to do? You got to take your eyes off the road and focus on the screen. Now, if you're less than 40 years old and have good eyes, then this probably doesn't bother you a bit. But I promise you, everybody watching this video is either already over 40 years old, or you're going to be over 40 years old sometime soon. You're going to like the alternative. So, if you're over 40 years old, you probably need reading glasses. And by the time this tiny print in low contrast font, either gray on white or darker gray on black, by the time you get out your reading glasses and lean forward to read this notice that says, keep your eyes on the road, having to take your eyes off the road to read it, then it has disappeared. What's up with that? Well, the thing I'd like to tell Tesla is, number one, this is very unsafe and very unfriendly to people who are not in their 20s and 30s. All right? So they need to fix this, number one, by making these alerts that pop up on the screen a lot more visible with larger font. Number two, make them in a higher contrast font. Yeah, make it solid black or solid white or a very dark or a very light color against whatever background they have it on. Number three, don't just offer the alert on the screen. Also, give us the option to have it read out loud to us. Because by the time people, here we go, by the time people read that alert or get on their reading glasses to read the alert, it goes away. So we don't really want that. We want to be able to know what the alert says, and we want to be able to do it without having it be a safety issue. So that's the number one thing I wanted to talk to you about. All right, I said I was going to talk to you about a couple of things. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is the next thing on my list of things to tell to the Tesla engineers, and you need to change it and upgrade to fix this issue. And this issue is two items that have to do with the blind spot camera screens that appear on the display when the blinker goes on. All right, number one of this issue is that whenever the blinker goes on, the blind spot camera comes on. And, you know, this is fine, but it's partially a safety issue, partially redundant, and partially not necessary, and partially confusing. Let me tell you why. Number one, and this is the main purpose, focus, benefit. The main benefit of having these blind spot cameras is that if your blinker comes on and the blind spot camera comes on and there is a vehicle in the location where Tesla thinks you are wanting to go, for example, you've got your left blinker on because you want to change into the left lane, and if there's a vehicle right there in what would be your blind spot, it gives you a big red flash, a faded red border on that side of the blind spot camera image on your display. This is a great thing. However, if you do not have eyes that are 20 or 30 something years old, a lot of times you don't know whether the blinker came on to go left or right. If you're in a 3-lane highway and you're in the center lane and the blinker comes on, well, Tesla wants to change lanes. But does it want to change lanes to the left or the right? Well, to do this, you've got to focus on the display, and if you don't have reading glasses on and you need them, then you've got to look harder to see which way is the blinker on the display showing. Is it the left blinker or is it the right blinker? Well, I don't know, and sometimes taking the time to try to figure that out could be a dangerous thing to do. Definitely is a safety hazard. So, my input to the Tesla engineers, and again, how do I tell them this stuff? My input to the Tesla engineers is that, number one, if you have a blind spot camera image come up on the display and there is nobody in the lane you want to go to, put in a green flash where the red flash would be if there were somebody there. That way you can tell, first, that it's clear. Second, you can tell which lane it wants to go into. That's number one. Number two is, if you are in the far right lane and the car's getting ready to make a right turn and there is no lane to your right, the right blinker comes on, you get the blind spot camera showing the roadside behind you and to your right. Well, if there is no lane off to your right, why are they showing that to us? It's just taking up display real estate that I would be very happy to see showing my navigation route or something like that. Now, this particular absorber unit, if you haven't used it in quite a while, I think it's been a couple of years since I have used this one. It gets very dry and it gets very hard, but that's okay because it doesn't take much for it to get moist, and once it gets moist, then you can wring it out and it makes a marvelous absorber. And of course I'm splashing water all over myself. Yeah, make a joke, I wet my pants. But I also wet my shirt and my shoes, and that's why I'm wearing these Walmart brand Crocs. Okay. Anyway, why are they showing us that blind spot camera when there is no lane for us to have a blind spot in? So my suggestion to the Tesla engineers is, if we are in the rightmost lane and Tesla puts on the right blinker and there is no lane to our right, we don't need to see that blind spot image. So if you don't want to just cut it off altogether, at least give us that option in the settings where it says show blind spot camera even when there is no lane to that side. And that way we can choose whether we want to have the blind spot camera image showing up. Okay, that's how long it has taken me to get this absorber finally flexible and compliant. But that's one of the things I really like about it, is that it's good years and years later. All you got to do is just have a little bit of patience, and now all I've got to do is get the water spots off of Blue Freedom here before they dry up and become spots that are harder to get off than they are when they're wet. So anyway, that's kind of what I had as far as, hello airplane, good to see you next time. So these are things that I have told you are both potential safety issues, and one of them is also a convenience issue and a why don't you do this issue. And I've got several more of these. Matter of fact, when I was looking these up to refresh my memory before I came out here to wash Blue Freedom. Now, I appreciate all the viewers of the channel who have suggested, oh, all you've got to do is go to full self-driving, and when you cut off self-driving, either by touching the brake or by taking over the steering, there's a notice that pops up on the screen. Yeah, notice pops up on the screen. Like we people who are in our 70s are going to be able to see that thing before it disappears. That says, all you got to do now is push your mic button and say something like bug report and tell them what's the problem, why did you get off of full self-driving, and that will be reported back to the Tesla engineers for consideration and possible fixing. Well, I don't know that it actually does that. I have not gotten any confirmation. I would love to get, do you know any confirmation of why that is true? You know, does it really work? Has anybody submitted a bug report that way and gotten a response? See, now all this water coming off of this absorber is what was on the car. And it's not going to be a water spot. Okay. Oh, and now look how nice and flexible this thing is. Isn't that wonderful? Okay. Here we go. Let me go ahead and finish getting the water off of the car in other areas. There we go. Oh, and Blue Freedom is much more happy now that he's clean. He, she, I don't know. It's a machine. It's not a he or a she, it's an it. But how many of you have given your car a really good name? If you have, let us know what your car name is, okay? I think it's really fun, especially when they're clever names, and some of them are funny, some of them are a little bit, shall we say, out there. I'm not sure very many people agree with Elon and the team's juvenile sense of humor. Just to give you an indication of what that is, and you probably already know this, the four main models that Tesla made before the Cybertruck came out were the Model S, the Model 3, the Model X, and the Model Y. And they wanted to make the Model 3 a Model E, but I understand some other car company had that Model 3 designation and threatened major lawsuits if Tesla used it. So they changed it to a 3, which is like text icon speak for the E. So they wanted the four models to spell S-E-X-Y. And they just think that was funny, and that's the juvenile type sense of humor that they have there at the Tesla engineers pod. Also, if you have noticed when your car is in Sentry mode, one of the buttons down at the bottom, it says fart. And when I went to pick up this car, really nice lady representative at the Tesla, it's not a dealership. Do you call it a dealership? I don't know what they call it. Anyway, distribution center, dealership, service center. She said, Elon was a genius, but he's got the maturity of a 14-year-old. He thinks farts are funny. So anyway, there we have it. Blue Freedom is now clean and sparkly, and I have shared with you why I believe the Tesla needs to redo their screens so that they can make their alerts more useful, more friendly, especially to people 40 years old, 60 years old and old. Remember, people 60 years old and up, very many of the people have already had cataract surgery, and that means they will probably only have single focus in their eye. My wife has near focus in one eye and far focus in the other. She said she got used to it, but I've got far focus in both eyes, which means if I want to read small print, I've got to get out reading glasses. If they want to be friendly to all of these customers, and there's a lot of us customers in my age bracket and up, because we just need that full self-driving for safety, then they need to make their display much more friendly to our eyes. And the second thing, of course, that I was discussing is the blind spot camera. By the way, this is the blind spot camera right here. It looks back and just looks right into your blind spot, and it can tell you if there's anybody there waiting to clip your bumper if you change lanes too suddenly. They had to make the blind spot cameras more user-friendly. That's all I've got for you right now. Take care, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.